of Cooking segment is presented by Supermoms. I'm in the kitchen today with Liz Heineke, who typically is our scientist. Well, we are talking science today. But you're also an excellent cook because why? Talk to me about what your mom did.
Oh, my mom had a cooking school when I was growing up. She took classes from like lots of famous chefs. She went and studied in Paris. She learned Chinese cooking in San Francisco. So way into cooking. I helped her many times, mostly washing dishes, but so I learned a lot.
Mostly washing dishes.
Yeah.
So we are gonna make a homemade vinaigrette dressing, which I love because one, you can customize it.
Yes.
Two, it's so fresh and light and probably one of the healthiest dressings, do you think?
I do. And honestly, it's a life skill. People, everywhere I go, people are like, Liz, can you make the vinaigrette? Yeah, people will want you to make this dressing because it's so delicious and so healthy.
But as with anything in cooking, there is science behind it. So we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, so vinaigrette is an emulsion, like mayonnaise is an emulsion. And an emulsion is when you mix two things together that normally won't mix together.
Like oil and water don't mix?
Oil and water, oil and vinegar. They're called immiscible substances. They don't want to mix together. But you can add some ingredients to help them mix together. You can whisk them together. And it's almost like Ring Around the Rosie. You will get like small groups of molecules of one substance surrounded by the other substance. And that makes a beautiful, thicker, more uniform substance called an emulsion.
So today we're doing this by ourselves, but one of the reasons we're doing it is to talk to people about how to talk to their kids about science in the kitchen. So even if your child might not want this type of dressing, it's not palatable to them, I think it's really cool to have them watch what happens in the bowl and see how that comes
They'll want to taste it after they make it.
Yes, yeah, we hope so.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's get started.
Okay, so even if you're not a mustard fan, a good Dijon is delicious in a vinaigrette. I always use it. You can make them with like lemon juice and olive oil, but I recommend taking about a tablespoon of a good Dijon, putting it in a bowl, maybe about this size, a bowl that's big enough to mix things in. Okay, so that's going to start our process. And then we are going to add our water-like solution, vinegar, right? That we are going to mix with the oil. You can use red wine, white wine, cider vinegar, whatever you like. We're going to use red wine vinegar today. So go ahead and add about a tablespoon of vinegar to our tablespoon of Dijon.
Okay.
You can just pour it in or you can measure. It's up to you.
I'm going to measure it just because it is such, I don't trust myself.
And when you're teaching people to do things, lots of times they like to sort of know an amount. So, okay. So I'm mixing this together. You can see it's not very thick. It's just sort of a watery mustard solution, right? Vinegar is called acetic acid. That's the scientific name for it. But depending on what you make it from, it has different flavors.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to make our emulsion. So this is olive oil. Lots of things can affect how well emulsions are made. Julia Child experimented for months trying to make the perfect mayonnaise, and she eventually figured out that she had to do it over a bottle of warm water to get the ingredients to the right temperature so she could make a nice emulsion. Today, we're just gonna wing it. If you're having trouble getting your emulsion to work, you can add a few drops of water to it. You can, like warm water, you can try to change the temperature. So we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You can also use just vegetable oil to our vinegar. So if you wanna measure, we're gonna add about 3 tablespoons. So I'm gonna stir and we're gonna just kind of drizzle it in a little bit at a time. So you can see at first they're not mixing together very well. Go ahead and drizzle it in. Then you start to see sort of these like long thread-like things as the emulsion forms. Oh, it's gorgeous, look at it. And it starts to become thick and shimmery. Can you see how that looks? Isn't it beautiful?
That's what I think kids would really love.
It looks creamy. And it transforms it.
Like letting them use the whisk and just getting involved. I think that's really fun.
I usually like to add a little, you want to add a little ground pepper to it? If you're making it with, perfect. If you're making it with mustard, you don't really need to add salt because mustard's very salty. And then, this isn't science, but my mom taught me when you're dressing a salad, always to kind of just pour it around the outside of the salad like this.
That is a great tip.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and mix it together. I usually do it with forks.
Oh, well, I'm just using this tongs.
I'm gonna add a little bit more. That tongs works great. If you have any extra, you can just store it in a jar.
Yeah, like this.
If it has olive oil in it, olive oil has a fairly high temperature, which it will become a solid, so you may have to heat it up a little to get it back into liquid form, but it will be just as delicious the next day. Okay, shall we taste this? What do you think?
Do you want me to?
Oh yeah, let's add some Parmesan and tomatoes. Yeah. And you know that salad's really good for you.
Yeah, I love, tell me what you were telling me earlier. Tell everyone about.
Oh, well, I can't quote the study, but I read recently that scientists have found that eating like dark leafy green vegetables is very good for your memory as you're growing older.
Which we're not, of course.
No. Forever young, right? Oh my gosh, that looks so good.
It does look delicious.
And this is a dressing that almost everyone will like. Unlike, the typical ranch or blue cheese.
Well, the ranch is...
I love blue cheese, but not everyone loves
Well, I love ranch, but this is a much better solution, honestly.
And it's so good. It's light, so it doesn't weigh down your lettuce. Isn't that good? It's the perfect salad dressing. And it's science.
I know. We're making delicious things, talking science. It's the best day ever.
Best day ever.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Happi.
If you want to learn more about Liz Heineke, visit thehappyhouse.com. If you have your own recipes, find the Happy House on Facebook and share them with us.